Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Matt and John Make a Podcast. This is episode 35, if I'm not mistaken, right, John?
Yes, we are on episode number
Yeah.
35 here, Matt.
Can't believe it's been 35 already.
And,
Um,
s- and still going
and still
strong.
going strong. But you know what's not going strong? Thank God you said it because master of segues. What's not going
Master
strong
Segway.
is UFC. What was it, 249?
Yeah, UFC 24, 24, 49, if you guys are living under a freaking rock. Um, but if you are, there was an announcement that came down late yesterday, like right around 6 o'clock ish. That basically that whatever plans that Dane was trying to set up for UFC 249 have indeed been squashed. So basically, um, supposedly the California governor found out where this location was going to be, which I believe was going to be at some like Indian resort, at some
Yep.
Indian casino resort or something. But once he found that out, supposedly the California governor called ESPN and Disney executives, and basically those executives told Dana to pretty much to squash this idea. There's too many risks, and so the decision now is for that event, and all current UFC events are currently suspended. So you would figure through at least May, which I think is going to be very interesting to keep an eye out, because and just doing some more research, it turns out that like with Matt within the, UFC's contract with ESPN, they have to run a certain amount of events every single year. Which, by the way, if they run these events, ESPN pays UFC $750 million. So to
Per,
say that's a
for the whole contract.
for the year, for the year,
Oh, yeah,
which,
well, per contract.
yeah, so it's just like, so you can
I
kind of see why Dane and everyone in the company are so desperate.
I
And
yeah.
yep.
I wonder if, um, because of the situation, since this is uh, a scenario out of everybody's control, I wonder
Hmm.
if ESPN will be a little bit more lax on that. Like, I don't know how that works. Or you're like, okay, you're not doing it now, but
I,
you got to put like, you got to squeeze in
yeah,
these events.
I also think they're probably paying them a certain amount of some just to kind of like ease up on everything,
Yeah,
because it's more with MWME, who is desperate for the money, because whenever they bought the company in 2016, they took on a lot of certain debt, and they have to slowly pay that off year after year, which is why they need to run these constant events every single year, which I believe they need to run around 40 some events. um and now like they and I think they've only have run 7 events, and so they basically need, I think, like around 35 more, if if my math is correct there. So they really need to hope that basically that the sanctions are going to be lessened relatively soon, or they're going to have to put in a lot of cards in a short amount of time here. But who knows what could be happening behind the scenes, that either ESPN could be like coming to some sort of a deal where they would still pay them, um, so on and so forth. But I mean, I'm sad, but I completely understand why they did this here. I mean, like, just for the guys and girls' safety. Just, I mean, even though they said that they were going to be testing regularly, it's just, I feel like that just from a like risks standpoint, it just seems like it was just way too much to chance there.
Yeah,
Even though that has been Dana's mo since since he bought the
yeah,
company, but it's you know
yeah. I was shocked when he was when he was still going to go through with it. I mean,
mhm. he
everybody.
was he was he was dead set on, man. Like he was gonna do whatever he could as long as the higher ups didn't say anything. And up until that point, ESPN and Disney, they weren't going to say anything. But you figure it probably came up from like guys like Bob Iger or whoever basically told him, hey, you know,
Yeah, you know.
yeah, we understand your current situation, but this is something that you can't
Yeah,
go forward with.
you don't wanna make Mickey Mouse mad.
No, and especially too
Don't want to make them.
with especially too with how big of a business partner that ESPN that ESPN is with Dana and the UFC. I mean, like they're
Yeah,
paying them a lot of money.
yeah. Don't bite
And
the hand that feeds you.
no, so I mean, like you figured that once that happened, that Dana was going to just say, "All right, I'm gonna step back." I do feel like that probably hoping by the summer that we'll we'll get some e- events happening because you're even starting to see an improvement a little bit over in California and over in like
Yeah,
a Washington. It's just like
yeah.
it's just going to take some time.
It's one of those things that it is approving, but you can't. We can't just be reactionary and then immediately go back when you have the first signs of improvement, because then if you have no way to fix this or slow the disease or even uh, uh, get a cure,
Right.
we're going to be doing this again. And
Mm-hmm.
even if, you know, we come down the curve,
Mm-hmm.
there's still cases out there. I mean, I'm just,
People are still dying too. It's not like that they have this
yeah,
under control yet.
people are dying. Um, People are still getting it, maybe not
It's not as
as high,
frequent,
but
but
people are still
mm-hmm.
getting it. And if we stop doing what we're doing now, then we're
Mm-hmm.
defeating the purpose.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're still coming down the curve, I mean, like I was saying, there's still things out there, and maybe you're getting less and less, but I think we have to wait to it's obviously contained in the way that if somebody did get it, they can have a treatment and it can be fixed
yeah,
without just going
and right,
crazy.
and it, yeah, like, and I've been watching Rogan a lot. Him, and like, and he's been having various guests on
Yep.
just kind of just like breaking down the whole entire virus. I mean, like, uh, uh, eventually they're going to find a cure. Just hopefully it's sooner rather than later. I mean, like, and two, it's going to be hard to get people to come out initially once these
I don't.
sanctions are
I
kind
don't.
of relaxed a
I
bit.
don't know. I don't know. I mean,
I mean, like with a certain demographic,
yeah. Well,
I feel like yeah, they are going to come out, but there's gonna be a lot of people who are going to be scared
yeah.
to even leave
I
their
can see
house.
that, but I just feel like just maybe skew to the younger half of the population, maybe
Mm-hmm.
from the from 18 to, let's say, 45. Let's say that key
Right.
demographic. I mean, when they say, okay, bars are open, you can go out.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be just this quick influx of just people everywhere, bars, restaurants, stuff.
I could tell you too. Probably, probably, probably next summer, like like in vacation resorts and stuff, they're going to be flooded with people
I
because
Maybe
like
even in the wintertime here, going down to like Florida and
yeah,
stuff, if we're still okay, which I hope so. That's
well yeah
why
because
go ahead.
Oh yeah, it's because like and I was talking with my family, like, we're talking about possibly going to the Carolinas next year. And man, like I can only imagine what it's going to be like next year if man, with the influx of people, just because at least for this summer, no one is going to be
No, because
traveling,
everything's closed.
obviously.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So it's just like
I
it's going to be a very weird time. And we're kind of segue into the corona talk. But like
seamless.
I just think, yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be a lot more appreciative of what they have. Just when things are taken away like that, man, like it puts a lot of things into perspective. How you go about your daily life,
Yep.
and how thankful that you really should be for the things that you do have. I mean, hell, like I've left my house a handful of times here. I mean, if it's
I
if it's not essential things, I mean,
today
I'm home, right?
yeah, and today I left today and yesterday, and both
Mm-hmm.
times 'cause today I went down to a local establishment, pick up some fish dinners for us, and I ate. But the weird thing
So
was,
yeah,
and then
that's what
yesterday
we did too.
and I went to Sheets yesterday, picked some food up for my
Mm-hmm.
dad, and got some stuff
Mm-hmm.
for myself. And it was weird because just for precaution and for everybody's precaution, I went both nights to both days with gloves, plastic gloves on, and a mask.
Hell,
And I didn't feel out of place, and that's the weird thing.
it's so weird now. Like I bought I bought some like booze online, and basically any sort of like package that I get a Clorox wipe, and I wipe it down now. Like that's kind of this of the insane thing that we're now in. It's like you kind of have to at this point,
Yeah,
just because it's that
I
crazy
I
right
can't
now.
wait till we go back and everybody stops doing what we're doing because once
Mm-hmm.
we're not wiping everything down and sanitizing everything or wearing masks or gloves.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's just going to do what they've been doing. Nobody's going to buy sanitizer anymore. Nobody's going to. You're not going to see people
Or toilet paper.
or yeah, in bunches.
Right.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like going back to picking up the food today, walking
Mm-hmm.
in, like having access to the seats blocked off, and just walking into the bar area, and both me and the person who was giving me my food, mask and gloves on, and it's just like, eh, no second thought at
No,
this point.
no.
But it's just you sit back and it's like
Mm-hmm.
this is it's just so weird. But
Yeah,
as a
like yeah,
necessary weird because if we didn't do anything,
have to be.
we've been
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know who has what. You could be asymptomatic, not show
Mm-hmm.
any symptoms, but still carry it and pass it on to somebody, and they can get it.
Right.
So it's I mean, you can't take it you can't not take it seriously because you don't know. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if we wanted to hang out and watch Mania, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
I was a little hesitant because, I mean, I don't think you haven't or Phil. I don't know about Phil, but like I'm not taking my chance because let's just say I'm asymptomatic or whatever. I don't think so because none of my parents are sick. But I know you live with. I mean, you have family members with you.
Mm-hmm.
Your grandma and I got my parents. Like I don't want to take any chances because you don't know when you can get it, and it's. I mean, it sucks, but hey, at least we in this point in our lives we have platforms like Zoom here that we can
Right.
stay in contact. Because if this was like, well, oh, we lost John. We lost John. But what I was saying with these programs and stuff and smartphones and what have you, we have ability to stay in contact with each other, so we're not alone and stuff. And like church services can still be streamed, so you can still do that. FaceTime, so it's a good thing. But once we wait for there's John. But once we wait for everything to come back, it's we could still make it work. And John's back.
What the
I was just going. I was just going to continue. I was just continuing what I was saying about coronavirus and stuff. It was okay. They just get to see my. Everybody just got to see my face is all real big and listen to my beautiful pipes.
Yeah, I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. But,
what what happened there?
I think I tried fixing the volume or something, and for some reason it exited out of everything. I don't know why, but
are those plugged? Obviously, those are plugged in your phone right now, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
That might have. Are those Apple things?
Yeah, they're
That's probably, and you have an Apple. That's probably why. Whatever.
Yeah, technology.
Well, right after I talked about how good technology was for us in this situation.
Yeah,
that's irony.
I get that one thing, man. I've watched so many older wrestling pay-per-views now, just because, I have more time now, and I'm working from home full time now. So obviously, you're gonna have some more time on your hands, and I've essentially have watched every single Hogan era pay-per-view now from the last few weeks now. And like just some hidden gems there that I never really thought about, and just how just different things are, and how they were presented. It just it's always fun going back to watch it. So going to kind of segue that into the wrestling talk here, but before we get into that, I did want to touch on one non wrestling topic, even though it connects to someone who's in the wrestling business, and that is with the XFL. So the XFL is officially no more. They have essentially laid off all of their employees, and they have suspended all day-to-day activities because of COVID-19. And there are currently no plans for them to start back up for the 2021 season. I'm really unfortunate, because I really did enjoy how the XFL was progressing. I felt like that they implemented some things that can definitely be used for the NFL standpoint, but I think this was just further proof that that any other league who's trying to start up is just going to find it really difficult. If anything, I think that the NFL should definitely have a feeder league or something, just because there's only so many spots that you could possibly do.
And that's pretty much was it, because look how many people have signed with NFL teams, and just the Steelers in particular, what, 5?
Yes, Steelers signed 5 of them. One of them being a defensive lineman from the New York Guardians, who I believe was the XFL sack leader up until the point there.
Yeah, and XFL, I mean, that's just bad luck. I mean,
it really is.
They were doing fairly decent, I would say, up until everything gets shut down with COVID, with the virus.
Ratings were holding up in
it was it wasn't as gimmicky as the original version of it. So that was a good thing. I mean, everybody liked the kickoff, the extra points thing. Everybody seemed to like it.
Kickoffs, especially. I think that's going to be implemented really soon because then it's going to bring back the actual kickoffs back into into the NFL and essentially eliminate any chance
It's more safe,
of
yeah.
yeah, it's way more safe now, and it's just like simple things like that are going to really help out the game.
I liked. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I feel sorry for the players though.
Yeah,
Just there. I mean, like there were a lot of guys who really took advantage of that. And like I think it would have helped a lot of college guys who really did not want to stay in school, and they could just go to there where they knew that they were going to be a pretty high draft pick. So that was going to be really helpful for them, but
yeah,
unfortunately, it just was not meant to be.
yeah.
But
I liked,
yep.
and another thing I liked was the looking in the replay booth and looking at listening to the process
Mm-hmm,
and then seeing the behind the scenes stuff. I mean, to me that was pretty neat.
mm-hmm,
I would like to see. I doubt it would happen. Um, Compared to kickoffs, but I like the extra points, the 1, 2, and
mm-hmm.
3, because that puts in more
I think
strategy.
I think that that's also something that the NFL should adopt because I have long hated the extra points in football. It's too. I mean, like yeah, it's not as easy to get the extra point, but I think it just adds another wrinkle into the game. And hell, like for as popular as the NFL is, like I don't think that would really hurt as far as implementing some of the rules that the XFL had. Whereas this time around, they were way more progressive rather than being like
Yeah,
a complete gimmick.
because you're thinking if you're going for 3 points, let's say it's near the end of the game, let's say there's not a lot of time left. Let's say like 30 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
whatever,
Right.
and you're down by 10 or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
you score or down by 9. I can't do math, and you score, you get 6 points, and instead of getting a situation when you score and uh, you need to get the ball back and you get a field goal or what have
Mm-hmm.
you, you can essentially get all that in one play,
Mm-hmm.
one scoring drive. So
Right.
you can technically get like 9 points. Let's say you're down by,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm trying to say, whatever the scenario is. So that can help. That could be interesting because you either go for the extra point and hopefully get the ball back, or you put all your eggs in one basket and you get the harder 3. So that's a lot of more strategy, and I mean depending on the time, obviously, and all that stuff. So it makes it more intriguing, and that's, I mean, I didn't get the chance to watch as many XFL games that I wanted to, just with my schedule at the time. On the weekends, I was just not home, so I couldn't watch it as much as I wanted to. But I didn't see much. I can't recall a lot of the times I used the 3 points. I don't know, but
It didn't happen often. It was like maybe one or two times that
right.
I could
But
recall.
if the season would still go on, and maybe in the
Mm-hmm.
next season, you would probably see coaches come up, just figure out strategy and figure out
Mm-hmm.
ways to do it and implement it more. Or if people were getting more desperate to try to win a game.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's just sad that I saw the breaking news on my phone and it's over. I'm like, I didn't even get a chance to enjoy it. At least for me, like a week and a half for me in watching games. But it is what it is, because NFL can't be stopped. And there's can't have not really even competition because it's not on at the same time. But no more extra football. So what?
Yeah. And speaking of like getting or I'm not sure if you talked up about like winning or anything, but NXT finally got a win over all elite
I didn't
wrestling
hear
this
about
week.
that until like an hour ago, but
Yeah, and it and
thank
like you
God.
want to talk about it being super close, and actually today Meltzer actually reported that the actual numbers, NXT only won by I believe 500 viewers now. It
It's a
was
win.
it and man,
It's a win.
I mean, like, and I saw it like if they can't beat them this week, then NXT is never going to be a AEW. And two, it was kind of weird because when they first came out with the numbers, Brian Alvarez said, "Oh, NXT didn't even chart." I'm like, "Oh God." But it turns out they did not chart with the 18 to 49 demo. I think that they were like 53 or something like that. But basically NXT won in total viewers by 400 or 800 something like that. But
I'm looking
it
this up.
was yeah but it was clearly was the better show. It just amazes me just how much and NXT hardcores were like talking so much smack on AEW fans and stuff. I'm like, guys, congratulations on the win, but like, I mean, like, if you could not beat AEW this week, which outside of Cody
It wasn't
versus
five.
Sean Spears, like there was really nothing that was marquee this week. Whereas for all elite wrestling for next week they have Hager versus Moxley for the AEW championship. I believe also that they just announced that Archer is going to be facing Colt Cabana in the TNT championship tournament that's coming up. So I mean if anything, I think if you're if you're NXT, you need to find more ways to try and get some more consistent wins week to week, and not just like when you just build up, these super shows, which they can definitely do. I mean, if you recall back in December, because I think that was their last win was when Rhea Ripley beat Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship. So they need to find a way to grab some more fans rather than like just sticking with the same formula. Because I think the what we are seeing is like it's not currently working, and the more time that AEW just continues to just build up people, such as a like Hangman Page and signing um uh, uh, other teams, we're going to kind of segue into them signing or into WWE finally releasing Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, who I feel I will be shocked if they are not in AEW by summer's end. So it's just like the NXT is going to need to figure some things out because because I really do think that what AEW has that NXT really doesn't have, it's clearly with the star power, and that kind of proves itself, even though NXT is putting out some really good, some really consistent shows, but they're not really grabbing consistently against all elite wrestling. So, we'll just see how that goes. Do you have any thoughts on their ratings win, Matt, or just
Um,
yeah, cool.
yeah. I mean, I'm not shocked. I mean,
No, no.
AEW was not the best, even though they went up 1%.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Hmm.
We'll see what happens. I mean, the effect of this show, I mean, ratings could always be delayed, like the full effect, because
Right.
people can tune in and be like, "Oh, what the hell was this?" and it maybe go down. But I doubt
Hmm.
that would be the case. But I mean, it was between on average a difference of 1,000 viewers. It wasn't 5,000. It was like
Yeah,
1,000 viewers.
yeah, like if anything, I would have been a little bit concerned if I was NXT. Like you had the freaking deck stacked. You could really only beat all elite wrestling by 1,000. Like
I
that would be something that
I
I would be more concerned about. You know.
yeah, but I think the AEW audience, the hardcore ones, are gonna watch no matter what.
Oh yeah, like
That's
same thing
that's a,
and same thing with the NXT hardcores too. You know.
yeah, but I think there's this feeling amongst wrestling fans that it, and I heard this, I vividly heard this when we were at a NXT live event here, that people associate NXT with like Vince and stuff,
Hmm.
and disregard the show
Well,
because it's Vince. But that show is way more. It's way different than Raw and SmackDown. The pay-per-views are much better. You have your
and
wrestling,
to another thing to consider as well, and we have seen this consistently. Whenever NXT guys get called up, they are not treated the same. They are not
but
treated
yeah,
as
but
they are stars. You know,
but
and
but
that
those are
is definitely a
but
factor
those
there.
but those are the main shows. But I'm talking about just
Mm-hmm.
strictly Wednesday nights.
Mm-hmm.
They're I mean they're
Like,
still good shows. But
but
like
yeah, they are. But like, but but also from their perspective, they are like saying, "Hey, why should I care or start to care about someone when eventually that I know they're going to be, either lessened or having their legs cut under them too.
yeah,
You know,
but
it's and those are very valid reasons. Just take you look at like I'm Shayna Baszler, you know, what 2 months in, and she's already down a peg from what she was on NXT. It's just it's not exactly fair, but that is
uh,
sort of the reality there too, and which is why a great tag team, and Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder requested for their releases multiple times, which I feel like, man, like you put them in AEW, that tag team division now is just, man, like Matt, like can you recall, like just from a tag team division's perspective, as deep as what all elite wrestling is going to have by adding those guys? I mean, like you throw them in with teams such as Kenny and Hangman, with the Bucks, Jurassic Express, Lucha Brothers, Private Party.
yeah,
I mean,
you're falling off. You're falling off there.
right, Santana and Ortiz, like they just
Um,
best friends. It's just like
you're falling off there again.
falling off.
SCU.
SCU too. It's just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
but
just like they have just so much talent in so many different tag teams. Like it's such a strong division, and like on top of that, and it was a big complaint that both of those guys had, was like there was no investment from like Vince in the tag teams. Like they would just have these guys feud for the title, whereas in AEW, like they're going to have actual storylines with other tag teams, and not just having tag teams involved when they're fighting over for the tag team titles.
Yeah, it's valid. To go back to the guy that was, I think it was at an ROH show, not an NXT show, because it wouldn't make sense. But he was saying, I think his one friend was saying, they were talking, they're sitting right next to us, and I think his one friend was saying, talking about NXT, and the one guy was just going off saying, "Oh, I don't want to watch that. That's
Oh yeah, I
Vince."
remember.
I don't want to sit there and go. It's not this. Oh, it's under the same umbrella, but it's not the same.
No,
Like
it's a completely different
it's a
audience there.
it's more for the hardcores, and you have some big stars that come through and at least watch
Especially at that time, because I believe at that time Kevin Owens was the NXT champion at that time.
You had
Vaguely recall.
you
So
had
like they were
Owens, you had Joe,
Owens, Joe,
Sami Zayn was already up there.
Sam,
Balor,
like they were stacked. Like,
yeah.
but and too, like, I just kind of shook my head at that, dude. I'm like, dude, like, I get it that you
don't like Vince,
that you hate Vince, but this is Triple H's baby here, like.
But like but the live events, the week, I mean the weekly shows at that time, like it's, I mean, it's
they were bangers, man. They were really good shows.
There's entertainment,
but
and at least, again, at this day and age, you can watch. It's okay. You can watch both. I mean, I watched both at the same time, just so I can know what's going on. Because, well, if I was busy, I don't know if I would find time to watch one or the other. But watching both,
I mean, like, I mean, like,
but now
you
can watch it.
Yeah, like for me, I just strictly watch on Dynamite. I mean, if there's something big or really good that happens, I'll go back and watch NXT. But to me, Dynamite just has more of that, like, of that sports entertainment, along with pro wrestling, which I feel is a little bit more can't miss sort of thing, which is why I'm more emotionally invested and into with this star power. I mean, like, Chris Jericho is all over their on TV there, and he's the most entertaining man in the business by far. Just continues to just consistently invent himself every single time, man. Like, it's just that's kind of where I stand up for, with AEW there,
Did you, real quick, did you happen to watch the Gargano Ciampa match?
I did not. That's something that I've been meaning to get to, but I would think that's probably on the network now, so I'll definitely check that out.
Right. Yeah.
But so what were your thoughts on the Revival finally getting their releases finally?
One, wasn't shocked. More surprised that it was immediate release.
Yeah, that was kind of shocking, honestly. Like, I thought for sure, like, oh, okay, 90-day non-compete, which honestly I don't think would have, like, been a really big deal, just because with the current climate, like,
yeah,
like, who cares, and, like, who knows when things get back, but so
we'll see what they land.
I still think that that there definitely are going to be landing with Tony Khan and All Elite Wrestling. Just I mean, like, I just don't feel like that they would actually leave if they didn't know that they could go somewhere else and making similar money to what WWE would have given them. So it's like, so I'm really excited for those guys, and, like, of course, once these guys were announced that they were leaving, you had all of these freaking India fans who were like, oh, they are they are just vanilla. They're really are like not that talented. Blah blah
I
blah. It
I
just
I
like
don't
it just
know what you're watching. It's probably the
uh,
people that are not watching
yeah,
NXT because it's Vince.
right. I'm like, guys, Vince has trained you to treat tag team wrestling like a freaking ugly step-headed stepchild
Did you
of
say step
pro
headed?
wrestling.
Did you say step
Yeah,
headed? It's red
yeah,
headed.
yes, step-headed, redheaded, redheaded stepchild
No, no,
of
step headed.
step-headed, whatever. But it's just like, I mean, like, you really just don't know how important that tag team wrestling is. I mean, look at the most important eras pro in pro wrestling. Hogan era, from all of those tag teams, from the British Bulldogs, Legion of Doom, Rockers, Strike Force, you name it. Um, crap, there are definitely a few other teams that I was thinking about, and too with the Attitude Era, Hardys, Dudleys, Edge, and Christian, AOP, or AOP. God damn it.
Well, they've been around
AOP.
a long time.
Wow. God, I'm drawn.
What do you say,
I
Dudley's?
excuse me. Excuse me.
His newly acquired captain. The
My
Dudleys,
newly acquired
Dartys,
captain.
Hardys, Edge and Christian.
Uh, Ratch, APA.
APA,
There we go.
AOP.
AP,
That's funny.
AP. My point was, like, and all of those, when the business was red hot, like, tag team wrestling was a very important thing, and that is how you're going to fill up your undercard with on these shows, and more importantly, it's going to weed out some of the under-talented guys, Michael Nakazawa, um, and other stuff. So yeah, I'm just really excited to see those guys, and just kind of to just to
Yeah.
remind people of how good that they actually are, especially when they're be feuding eventually with the Young Bucks, which I would think that's probably is going to be a pay-per-view main event, possibly at some point.
I don't know about maybe. I don't know about. I don't know about main event.
It's a really big match.
It is, depending on what the title match is.
Yeah, obviously.
But yeah.
Mhm. So we talked about NXT. So I wanted to also get into what sort of the things that we want to see as WWE moves post WrestleMania, sort of our wish list that we can talk about. Matt, what were some of the things that you're kind of hoping for as we head, I guess, on the road to SummerSlam, or more specifically for shows, even though it's been technically canceled, Money in the Bank. I'm not sure if they would air that at the PC, because I believe as of this week that show has been canceled.
Yeah. You had the list here of. I'm just gonna go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of off the fly. And a nice segue from what we just talked about, but tag teams. Kind of, I build that. Just try to build that division back up.
More tag teams, more than one or two tag teams per show.
I think we need new blood in that tag team, because on SmackDown we got Usos and New Day.
And who are the champions? Miz and
Morrison. So that was on SmackDown. That's a new tag team, but that's a new tag team, and I like them both.
I do too.
But even back in the day, but we need something other. And I no disrespect to these teams, but we've seen Usos in the New Day in the title picture what seems like forever.
Heavy, 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 heavy
They need to
machineries there.
They need to capitalize on the Otis storyline.
Absolutely.
And you can interject the tag team thing. You can combine.
Hell, even like even like make like even make Mandy Rose a like valet for them or
right.
Like
that would be just great. On Raw side, you have the Street Profits that are over. It's entertaining. I love them. You have Angel Garza and Andrade once he comes back. I mean, Austin Theory was, I doubt they keep him up.
I would think he's probably going back down to NXT. Hopefully he does.
Yeah, I mean that's an influx there. I'm trying to think who else is left. I mean, before they had Murphy and Rollins. I mean, that wasn't, but that was almost like a AOP.
But I believe AOP one of those guys tore their pec there. So
I can't for God knows I can't think of. I'm drawing a blank. Who else is on?
They just made Cedric and Ricochet a tag team.
That's that's an interesting. I mean, it's something to get them going. Which I'm okay with, because that's an exciting tag team. But they're both faces, and I don't think you have. I mean, as much as I would love to see them versus the Street Profits, that's a face.
The main problem that you have on both brands is, I mean, outside of like a Miz and Morris, they really don't have any heel tag teams. I mean, I guess you could probably put two together. Like Ziggler
like Miz
and Bobby Roode, but I mean, it's just like
is Roode hurt again? Because where's he been?
He might not have been traveling because of the pandemic too. So
it's just I don't know. It just seems like I haven't seen him in a while. I don't
think he's hurt. I think he's probably staying home more than anything there. But it's just like. But like, and this is going to be a consistent thing. Is this company needs to involve more people instead of just like focusing on just like on just like one or two people within every division, but with the tag team division and especially with the women, like that is a huge issue.
I
see right now.
Yeah, because I was going to get into women.
The women, like they focus on the same four girls every single time. It's like it's Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte, and freaking Becky. Like can we please involve some more women here?
I would like to see. Yeah, I would like to see, and I had a tease of it this past weekend. I know you're down on her, but Lacey Evans. Liv Morgan. I mean, Liv Morgan got the win on the pre-show match. I mean, she's got.
And I want to see Asuka and Kairi Sane back into singles, because honestly, I would just ditch those freaking women's tag titles, just because if you're just having like two teams feuding over those titles, like who cares? Like it just
they need to. And what's the problem is, there's no like, how you watch independents, the indies, and other shows, and let's just take tag teams for example here. You've got other tag teams and other companies, and they jump around. It could be exciting, like, oh, we can have so and so here, and then they finally happen. Oh, look at this. There's no. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's no women tag teams in like any company, because I don't know what company.
It's just like
it's a new concept.
Because back in the day, TNA did it, but like it was the same issue with them. They don't have enough women within the division to actually do it. Whereas in WWE's case, they do. They just don't involve anyone else.
They
And
had, yeah. I mean, we had like the. I know it probably wasn't great. We had the Riot Squad and stuff like that,
mm-hmm.
and but like and then Ruby Riot got hurt, and I kind of
Yeah,
disbanded that. Um, where's she been? Probably
probably
quarantine,
staying home too.
San Antonio.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
it means right now it kind of sucks. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
no like. It'd be nice to eventually down the line, just in the business in general, have like actual women tag like coming up together, women tag teams that like
I mean,
other
I'm
promotions they could promote, and you have a women's tag team division. Um,
one team I would definitely put together would be a like Chelsea Green and Deanna per
Peraza,
Perazzo.
yeah, yeah, I can
Like
work.
it's just like they have so many women signed. If they can put together a really good women's tag team, the division, but
Because
they just don't care enough to actually build it and actually build other teams. Whereas where you see in other companies they actually build up their divisions, and for
yeah,
as
there's a lot.
bad
Go ahead.
as AEW's women's division is, they're trying to build up some other women in and granted it's rough and it's going to take some time, but I see them trying to actually build it. Whereas WWE's women, I feel like they've just gotten extremely complacent. Like how long are they going to depend on on Becky, Charlotte, Sasha, and Bailey
I,
at, at the forefront? Like sooner or later, they're going to need to use some other people, you know?
yeah, there's people there. I would like to see, and I know on and off
Bianca Belair too. Bianca
that she's
Belair
there.
better. She better be one of their top women there. Like
You got Vega, you got Zelina. She's good at what she's doing.
right,
Um,
right.
she's probably I don't know how she's okay. I mean, she's okay in the ring. I mean, she can improve.
Honestly, I I think
She's more of
that
good
she's
valet.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
an
honestly
occasional appearance.
right. She's a decent worker, but I wouldn't have her as an active wrestler. Same thing with Lana too. Like she just being a like manager slash on ballet. Like
Yeah,
we've seen her wrestle. It's not good. So
yeah.
let's chill out on that there.
I like to see just me Rhonda come back. Um,
Oh,
I know
by the way, speaking of her, have you seen
I saw.
her
I'm
like outburst?
I'm I'm almost convinced because she did this the last time. I'm
Yeah,
convinced
during the
she's doing this as a character. I'm
she might be, but she said the exact same thing uh, about about MMA fans too. So
yeah, but
she might be working herself into a shoot here too.
yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, true, but I mean with this company, I mean
right?
you're always working because because the last time leading up to Romania, she said stuff and people got on her and they went with her.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't I I mean, could it 100% be true? Yeah, but I just feel like
I
because she
wouldn't
was
put it past her.
I wouldn't
I'll just say
yeah,
that.
but I at the same time I still think she might be this might be like a work just to get people wound up because she
Very
didn't
possible.
she met
Um,
she was at Stanford what like a month
mhm.
or two ago,
Yeah,
so
she
she's
was
probably
probably
coming
doing
back and she's
at some point. Yeah.
she's because we haven't really heard from her what in a while like
Yeah.
publicly, and even though it was Steve's podcast she's saying stuff
Mhm.
about coming back and stuff, so maybe it's
Mhm.
sooner than we think or it's in the works or finding the right time. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if the plan is
SummerSlam,
like for her versus Becky at SummerSlam.
because
But yeah, I mean
that's the rematch. I
yeah,
mean, you
because
have to pay that off.
yeah, yeah, and the thing is with her versus Becky, there really does and doesn't need to be a title on the line for that.
Uh,
So
right. Even
you
though
can
it
definitely
probably
do
will
that.
be.
Yeah.
Um,
Um. But the thing is, I'm not convinced that the feud is actually over between Becky and Shayna. We could very well see
yeah.
Shayna
I-
win the titles.
Yeah, I mean,
From
if
her this summer.
I mean, we don't know what they're gonna do, and I keep saying it sucks because you don't know what, if anything, would have been different given the
Mm-hmm.
circumstances. Um, Now with like Rhea and stuff, uh, I I don't know if the issue with the visa like I don't know, like that
I'm
whole
not sure
thing.
that would have really mattered. I mean,
If
like I'm sure because
but I'm
that to me could have been easily
fixed,
taken
yeah,
care of. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Which I'm just bringing that up as a counterpoint to what they did.
right,
Um,
right.
I know they could always have a redeeming arc. I mean, they could always build it back up, that a redeeming arc for later, maybe in a SummerSlam or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, yeah, it wasn't. We didn't like the decision, but if you build it back up and you tell a story,
Hated the decision.
right? But if you at least give us, if you tell a story and it's decent enough, then I can forgive it and be like, okay, this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, making a new star, continue to make a new star behind Rio, I think was the way to go. But again, just a different, just a weird situation with everything because we don't know what would have happened with everything. I mean, we're not behind the scenes, so I don't know.
No,
What's the next on the
no.
wish list?
And kind of just emphasizing with the like with the like involving more people within certain aspects of the card, especially with their with the IC and with the US championships. Like to me, there just needs to be a bigger importance placed on these titles, um, making them feel like actual important titles that can elevate someone to eventually go after either for the WWE Championship or for the Universal Championship. Which I mean, like it's been a while, and just for me, just like going back and watching these older WWF shows, you just like the importance of the IC title is it's just amazing how much more that's taken seriously
Yeah,
from back then. Like I don't think it's asking so much just to build credible guys, up and coming guys, holding those titles, making them feel special. And that's been a big issue. It's just like these titles just feel like freaking props. I mean, like, I mean, how many? I mean, for how long has Andrade been like just
well,
has just been playing right?
he's
He's been
been
playing hot potato with them.
well
Yeah.
recently he's been suspended and he's been hurt, so his run just been snake bit from the beginning.
Uh-huh.
Um, I mean,
Yeah,
they had
and with the suspension and everything too
I
on
mean,
top
they
of it.
had kind of the
So
feud with Ray. I mean, there was something there. Um,
yeah,
with when he comes back, I don't know who he can. I don't know.
I just think honestly, I think with at least like one of these styles that they should do some sort of a tournament to kind of determine who should face him next.
I think you yes, I feel like the United States more so.
Just like do something just to give like some importance back. I mean, like and I know with like Vince, he hates tournaments, which I don't know why. They're an excellent way to hold up stars like how they used to. But I mean, like, just put a more important emphasis on these titles and actually get behind guys who are actually getting over. Like, and the big problem is, especially with their undercard guys, a lot of the guys who they've been pushing forever, such as Baron Corbin, are not getting over. I mean, hell, like Matt, if you have not seen Cornette's WrestleMania review,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
yeah, so like his review on Corbin versus Elias is hilarious.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that, like,
No, I listen
recommend.
I listen to all of them.
Oh my god, he buried Corbin so badly, but it's just like they just need to just put in a little bit more effort with these guys instead of just like going and just trying to
I mean,
just trying to
I like
fill up time.
I like what Zane's doing. I like his gimmick, and he got the win over Brian. Looking back,
Yeah.
which makes sense because Brian doesn't need the title. I mean, he can go. Hopefully, we'll see what happens and who he faces. And getting into the top of the card real quick, since it was on my mind. I'm interested to see what Drew does from here. Who he faces.
Just do not feud him with Jinder freaking Mahal. That's all that I pray for.
2MB.
Like, good lord, like that's how you bury someone. Like, I mean, like, and we've seen this a lot when they have someone who's brand new win the title. Like, they'll just have a feud with someone random. Like, if you remember when Daniel Bryan won his title, WrestleMania, they threw him against Kane, which is no offense to Kane, but he was no spring chicken at this point, and that was not something that a lot of people wanted to see. Like even for
the terrible Brie acting.
Yeah, it's just like, but the problem is too, I don't know what they actually do with him, Drew, post WrestleMania. Like, do you throw him against Seth? Which honestly, I have zero desire to see that because we've seen that feud. Obviously, the roles were different. Drew, he was a heel, but I have seen that match so many times that I have no desire to see that. I mean,
I would
honestly, I would be fine with like Drew versus Orton. I'm perfectly fine with that right there. You know.
Yeah, we have to build
Orton back up.
Yeah, because he can't just come out Monday and be like,
no.
I wouldn't mind if somehow you can get the work. Him and Owens, AJ, you kind of have to, yeah. Or
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I think AJ would be a good one. And then on SmackDown, I would like them to give Braun a Fiend. It's Fiend. It is Fiend.
I think it's the Fiend.
I mean, the history's there.
And on top of that, Strowman is just a placeholder for that for now. And with the uncertainty with how long that Roman's going to be out for, I think you should just go into Strowman versus Bray, as you said, Matt. There is some history there.
There's so much you can pull from.
Right,
I mean, you could tell a story. I want Braun to have a long title, but it's not gonna title reign, a decent one. It's not gonna happen with Bray.
No. And the problem is too, like, you really don't have many other contenders because you figure like you aren't going to involve Daniel Bryan. He's gone. Roman's out for the foreseeable future. Like, they just especially on SmackDown, they just don't have a lot of guys in that main event spot where you can build guys up. And I think what this summer they really need to do, they need to build up some other guys, because then, especially with guys such as like an Edge, and especially with Brock, they should be more concerned in getting these other guys over. Because Edge doesn't have too many big time matches left, and while you still have him, utilize him to get these other guys over, and not just kind of just depending on these part timers to consistently draw for you. And again, that is a big problem. They depend on these guys on the edges, the Ortons, the Cenas.
Well, Orton's not
just
so much part time.
True, but he isn't technically full time either. It's just I just want to see a better effort on their end in trying to build up other guys, to where when a WrestleMania rolls around, they're not depending on like, oh, we have to put on three or four part timers every single year. I mean, hell, like this year it was like part time. It was like part time Mania with guys like Edge, Undertaker, Goldberg. Like it's just
Lesnar.
and Cena on top of that. It's just like, let's just try to like do that. That is my main wish for 2020. Build up other guys so that when these big shows do come around, they can actually draw for you. But as we have seen, that like we're asking for a lot when it comes to that. There.
Do you predict? I'm thinking if we go down the line to SummerSlam, are you thinking it's The Fiend versus Roman Reigns?
I'm gonna say no, because I think Vince is petty enough to where when Roman pulled out at the very last second, that like he's going to try and definitely punish him to a certain extent, because even though he spent many years in trying to get him over as a babyface, like he pulled out of the match a week before Mania, so I don't think that's going to happen. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen.
I'm just feeling like he wants Roman to try to build Roman up, and he's going to beat the Fiend, which everybody's going to crap on the crap.
Honestly, on. I could see Edge versus the Fiend. I could see that.
Is he officially on Raw? Yeah, does he?
Oh yeah, that's right. So it'll probably with Drew versus Edge would probably be look more sense, but I believe Edge is on Raw, but they never really made that officially either. So who knows?
I think he might be on. They might be keeping him on there. So yeah, there's several things we would like to see going forward from main roster WWE this year. So it's going to be interesting. I'll sound like a broken record, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Speaking
of interesting, I'm not sure if we talked about this or not, but have you seen the Edge and the Taker documentaries?
I saw the Edge. I didn't preview the Undertaker one yet. I meant to get to it. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, it's only a sneak peek, so it was about 15 minutes long. It's definitely interesting to say the least. Like this is like the first. It's like the first real documentary of the Undertaker. Like it's like complete behind the scenes stuff of just like I think it takes place like from 2017 to now.
I think was it around the time he was going to face Roman and he was going to go out?
Yeah. So basically,
he thought it was his last match.
Right. So basically from WrestleMania 30, 34 until now. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So
That's going to
yeah,
be.
like
I'm interested to see how that comes across.
yeah. I would imagine that's probably isn't going to drop fully probably until SummerSlam or maybe Survivor Series, because obviously this year would be would be his 30-year anniversary, which is insane to think about right
Yeah.
now. But yeah, so that should be interesting as well. Matt, I don't think there's really anything more for us to talk about this week. So I think if you want to take us home, we shall
Yes.
end the podcast
So
here.
yeah. So again, thanks for everybody for watching this week. 35 episodes in. Thank you for everybody. Any new subscribers this week? We got some new subscribers, so thank you.
Oh, and also stay tuned. I will be a special guest on the NB show
Yep.
next week. So
So yeah. So I'm sorry.
yeah, so I will be on that, and obviously and obviously Matt, and I will be doing our weekly Dynamite and NXT reaction show. So I'm also stay tuned
Yeah.
for
So
that there as well.
if you haven't noticed, we're hosting, at least for now, the MB show. If you've heard of them, from Nick and Brian, but it's more so the MB show with me and Brian. He was trying to start that program back up again, and originally he had technical issues on his side, and I said I could probably put it on our channel, so a different show, if you will, on our channel. So it's interesting to get more views, more content on the channel. So that's good for us. And we, as of this recording, we're doing this on Friday. So yesterday, if you're watching Saturday, we did a show, me and Brian and a special guest. Oh my God, I'm forgetting his name right now. Oh my God. But you're seeing
Connor.
Yeah.
Is it Connor?
Let me look. I feel stupid. If he's watching this, I'm sorry. Hang on, I gotta do my.
Going to slap the out of you the next time that he sees you.
Well, he's not. Luckily, he's not from here.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. Yeah, Connor. Yes, it's Connor. So there you go. We had that because we're kind of doing shows of people who've helped in the original NB show along the way. So that's that, and so we're hosting that. So before I ramble on a little bit too much longer, comment, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Ring the bell, and we'll see you, like John said, on next Wednesday for our AEW NXT recap, and the NB show next week live on the channel on Friday, and then again our podcast episode every Saturday on here at 3 p.m. So for John, I'm Matt. You can see our Twitter handles on the bottom left. You can follow us there. So with that, thanks for watching. See you next week.